welcome back. This is Dr. Gevrik. We are now learning about public finance, and this is chapter 3. This is the empirical tools of public finance chapter, and this is the very last part, part 5. This chapter started all about the differences between correlation and causation, and how we are going after the causation, not the correlation. And in part 2 of this chapter, we said that randomized trials are the gold standard of the empirical theory. We want to have randomized trials, but then we talked about why it's impossible sometimes to have randomized trials. And what we have access to in real life, we have access to observational data. And observational data, we talked about 2 different ways. Time series data, we talked about cross-sectional data, and this is the last part, the things we do with observational data, quasi-experiments, natural experiments, and we'll also talk about structural modeling. Let's get started. So one more detail, I don't have my watch, but I have my phone here. It shows 12:08. Okay, it's after midnight. I want you to do me a favor and comment below that the time you're watching this video, let's say you're watching this at 1:30 p.m., just comment that and say something about how these videos impacted your life. I would really appreciate it. Let's have some conversation going. Okay, so let's get started. Quasi-experiments or natural experiments. We use a lot of this in public finance, labor economics, and microeconomics. So you cannot set up randomized trials for many public policy discussions. So let's say you found 2 samples of single mothers. They're identical. You know, the mixture of single mothers is identical in 2 samples. So you are given one group higher government benefit and you're completely removing the benefits of the other group. First of all, this is unethical. When you give randomly a group full benefits and removing the benefits of another group, you could be hurting some children and their nutrition. They are going to be put in worse situations. Okay, so in some cases, it's not ethical to set up randomized trials. Time series and cross-sectional approaches are often unsatisfactory. Okay, quasi-experiments. So how does it work? It's just like those sharp changes in policies. For instance, cigarette price wars in early 90s. The tobacco companies got into a price war, and the price of cigarettes went down to $1.18 per pack from $2.28. Okay, it's getting a little late, so I'm having trouble remembering numbers, but those kind of sharp changes can generate grounds for quasi-experiments. Okay, quasi-experiments changes in the economic environment that creates roughly identical treatment and control groups to study the effect of that change. Okay, so basically here we are letting outside forces to do the randomization for us. In some cases, this happens naturally. That's why we call them natural experiments. Suppose that Arkansas cuts its TANF benefit by 20% in 1997. So there is a timeline, right? This is 1997. There has been a policy change in 97. We had a large sample of single mothers in Arkansas in 96 and also 98. So this is the treatment happening. So this is before 96 single mothers, and sample of mothers in 98 is going to be our after group. At the same time, imagine that Louisiana's benefits remained unchanged. Okay? So this alteration in states' policies causes or creates a randomization. For instance, women in Arkansas who experience a decrease in benefits are the treatment group. Okay? Women in Louisiana whose benefits were unchanged are the control group. So we're going to compute the change in labor supply across these groups Examine the difference between treatment, Arkansas, and control, Louisiana. Obtain an estimate of the impact of benefit cut on labor supply. This will be mostly free from bias. Why not to study only single mothers in Arkansas alone, right? Arkansas performed an experiment, okay? So single mothers in 1996 are the control group, right? And those in 1998 are the treatment group. Can we do this? That's the question we're asking. Come on now. You can't do that. What if the national economy was growing fast during this period? What if the economy is growing already? Right? So basically, it's not benefit cut, but economy is growing. Real wage rate is going up, so more women is working and their hours are going up. Yes? So because this is the case, you need a control group that has never experienced this policy change. So quasi-experiment approach, it adds an extra step of comparing the treatment group for whom the policy changed to a control group for whom it did not. Single mothers in Louisiana didn't experience the 10th cut, yet they benefit from, for instance, growth in the national economy. Okay? So we're going to examine hours of work in Arkansas. So what we do is, whatever variable we're looking, Y, right? This is the treatment after. This is the general formula. Okay, I'm giving you only the general formula, so it will be used in any class. Treatment before. So Y here is my hours. Okay, the variable we're interested in. Hours in Arkansas after the policy change minus average hours of women in Arkansas before the policy change. This contains both the treatment effect and the bias from the economic boom. In contrast, if you examine hours in control after minus variable we're interested in hours in control group. It's a C, by the way. I apologize. It's just acting up yet again. We call this Freddy Krueger effect. If you don't know, look it up. It's a scary movie from the 80s. Control group after, control group before. So what's my control group? Control group is Louisiana single mothers who have never experienced benefit cut. Hours in Louisiana after 1998 minus hours in Louisiana control group before the policy change. Again, policy change in 97. Cool. This contains only the effect of the economic boom, right? No policy change. So subtracting the change in hours of work in Louisiana from that in Arkansas, we control for the bias caused by economic boom. So what do? This is the difference in treatment group. This is the difference in control group. So you're going to do this one, treatment in parentheses minus control. Okay? So we can obtain a almost causal estimate of the effect of temp benefits on hours of work. So benefit guarantee in 1996 is $5,000. In 1998 is $4,000. Benefit guarantee went down by $1,000. Hours of work per year in Arkansas women went up from $1,000 to $1,200. So hours went up by 200. Benefit guarantee went down by 1,000. Let's take a look at what happened to Louisiana. So benefits fell by $1,000 in Arkansas during 1997. CPS data shows the actual hours of work for single mothers in Arkansas. At the same time, benefits were being cut. The hours of work increased for single mothers in Arkansas. Okay, so benefits fell by 20%, 5,000 to 4,000. If you calculate 4,000 minus 5,000 divided by 5,000 is 20%. And hours, benefits fell by 20%. Hours increased by 20%. So positive 20 divided by negative 20%. Elasticity of labor supply with respect to benefits is -1. Bias in this first difference. You will see bias in this first difference because of major economic growth during this period. Single mothers in Arkansas may have increased their work effort even if TAF benefits had not fallen. Okay, so I need a control group. I need to examine single mothers in the neighboring state of Louisiana. Okay, so we can gather the same kind of data for Louisiana. Benefit levels did not fall in Louisiana, 5,000, but labor supply still increased, perhaps due to growing economy. Interesting. So before it was 1,050 hours in 1996. Now it is 1,100 hours. So hours grew 50 by 50. Okay. So it appears that 50 hours of this 200 can be attributable to improving economic conditions, not 10th. Okay. So difference and difference, double difference estimator, the difference between the changes in outcomes for the treatment group that experiences an intervention and a control group that does not. So what do? We have hours for my treatment group, Arkansas. We need to do after 98 minus hours, Arkansas, 96. Okay, so this is going to be the first difference. Let's calculate this one. 1,200 minus 1,000. We already did this, right? So the first difference is 200. Let's do difference and differences. This is hours in Louisiana after minus hours in Louisiana before. So we already calculated this. Hours in Louisiana in 98, $1,100. Hours in Louisiana in 96, 1,050. So this difference is 50. So we are going to then do the treatment change in treatment minus change in control. So if you write everything, difference and difference estimator, I'm just going to write down this example. Hours in Arkansas after minus hours in Arkansas before minus. So this is your, I'm going to actually grab a different color. Let's grab a different color. Okay, so this is treatment minus hours in Louisiana after minus hours in Louisiana before. Okay, so this is a control group. Okay, so this is 200 minus 50 is your real effect, right? 150. You can say the impact of benefit guarantee cut in Arkansas caused hours of work to increase by 150, not 200. So cross-sectional analysis says the reduction in welfare benefits leads to a 100-hour increase in work. So if you're looking at the cross-sectional data, you will just focus on 1 year cross-section of women whose benefits didn't change and women whose benefits went down. If we compare these two groups, reduction of benefits, right? This group is associated with 1,200 hours of work versus 1,100. So reduction of benefits are here associated with 100 lower hours of work. That's what it says. This is a cross-section analysis, but that would be wrong. Difference and differences analysis says it would be $150 increase in work. Okay, so the difference and difference estimator is, this is your treatment group, difference after Arkansas after minus before, minus this is your control group, Louisiana after before. The second term for Louisiana, this control group, nets out the bias from the growing economy. So the causal effect of TANF benefit cuts would be a $150 increase in labor supply. Elasticity would be then, right, 150-hour increase. If you were to calculate elasticity, 150-hour increase. So you have from 1,000 to 150. That's 15% divided by 20%. Okay, so 15% divided by 20%, right? So this is a positive number, benefit decline is negative number, so that would be negative 0.75 is the correct elasticity. Okay, so let's talk about problems with quasi-experimental analysis. It's possible that the economic boom affected Arkansas differently than it did Louisiana. Single mothers may be different across states. We can never be completely certain that we have purged the treatment control comparisons of bias. Okay, so there are two drawbacks of randomized trials and quasi-experiments. They only provide an estimate of the causal impact of a treatment, difficult to extrapolate beyond the changes of that specific policy. You can generalize it to all benefit cuts. They often do not tell us why the outcomes change. They don't separate the income and substitution effects of TANF benefits change. So reduced form estimates therefore leaves much of the economic theory in a black box. We call these difference and differences estimators as reduced form estimates. Last topic we're covering is the structural modeling. This is in the observational data, the last item. Structural estimation is an attempt to estimate the underlying parameters of the utility function. This is a more thorough exploration of economic responses. It's more difficult to estimate. It relies on same set of limited information as reduced form models. It requires some assumptions. So we have to make assumptions about an explicit form of a utility function. If this is incorrect, you can get wrong policy conclusions. As a result, in this course, we are going to focus on reduced form estimates. We are looking on time series, we're looking on cross-sectional, but we are mainly looking at natural experiments and quasi-experiments and reduced form estimates because it's easier to think about them and explain the real world with them. So we are done with chapter 3. I'll see you in next chapter. Bye.